Hey everybody, Patty G here from the Patty G Show. We are back for another exciting episode. This week we have none other than Heather Bush in the studio. From a business standpoint, she was a photographer in the beginning and then took some time to be a stay-at-home mom, some would say the hardest job in life. And then she became a franchisee owner with F45. So really exciting story, phenomenal journey, and what she's doing here in Baton Rouge as being one of the founding members of the studio and gym to now being the owner of that place right there on the corner of Bluebonnet and Highland Road. Heather is a phenomenal person, and we have a great conversation coming your way. So enjoy. We give a big, wonderful thank you to the folks that make this show possible each and every week. Falaya Real Estate, Lake Men's Health Center, Horizon Financial Group, and Gage. Enjoy the show. So you got in on the ground floor as a member. Mm-hmm. Okay. I know F45 has kind of been the big ticker.
I had never heard of
lately.
it. So I've been at a few different gyms over the years. I probably started working out about 20 years ago, right after I had my first kid. Like, I grew up an athlete, but we never worked out in weight rooms, or girls didn't.
What was your sport?
Softball was my main sport, but I did basketball and a little bit of cheer too, but softball was my main sport. But girls never worked out in weight rooms,
Really?
Back then.
Like, even on the athlete side?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm. I mean, if you wanted to do stuff on your own, whatever, but, like, teams never worked out. Like, girls' teams never worked out in weight rooms. And honestly, all sports, like, the football team would work out in the summer, mm-hmm. but then, like, it wasn't year-round like it is now. I graduated in 95, high school. So that's just how it was back then. So I got into working out after I had my kids just to lose weight, and I've been at several different places, started at the Y, then, all these studios and other places. I ended up at Traction by the time my kids were like 12 or so. And
Traction, the baseball venue?
Yes,
they have
but
a gym there?
They used to have an adult class, like
okay.
a couple of them a day.
Oh, like a class
and
type
so you
structure.
could go work out, but it was more training type of class. I mean, it was true sports training, And Carrie, totally blanking out on her last name. She worked for me for a long time. Anyway, Carrie was there. And I was there for like 3 or 4 years, and she trained me there. Actually, this other girl was there first, and then she came. Sherry Mockler was there. A lot of people in the industry. Mm-hmm. And then a couple things happened there that from management I wasn't super happy about. They changed some things, and then I was kind of thinking I might want to look somewhere else. Carrie ended up taking a job doing something else, not training for a while. So I was kind of looking these other places, and I kept seeing this ad come up for F45. I don't even think it said F45. It was one of those, like, we're looking for 20 women to blah, 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 whatever. I was like, I don't know what this new place is. Maybe. Well, I clicked on it one day, and it's like if you try us for the first month, you're guaranteed this rate or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And then if I really like it, I'll cancel Traction. Well, literally, I think they opened like 2 weeks after I quote unquote did like the foundation price, and then COVID happened 3 weeks later. So F45 was shut down like 3 weeks after it opened, and so was Traction. But F45 had these home workouts they were providing for you through like their app and other things, and I was like, this is great. So anyway, I kind of got hooked. Even during COVID, I was doing it with a buddy at home. We were doing it, and like it was cool because there was this community built in, because like, oh, we're all doing the same thing even though we're not together. And anyway, so that's how that happened.
Element of it all.
Yes. And then we finally got to, and we did have a couple weeks of classes, and it was awesome before COVID happened. But they survived COVID. I mean, they had just opened, and both of them did a good job of like kind of keep reaching out to people and like, hey, give us another month. I think we'll be back, that kind of thing. And it worked out well. And we came back. We weren't full capacity because they were only letting, but everybody came back and was loving it. And anyway, Carrie got hired by Bo in the beginning when I first found out, after I clicked the button. And then when I went to a class and she was there, and I was like, oh my God. So that's kind of how I got turned on to it. originally. Like I knew some of the people. I knew who Bo was, obviously. I knew Bo and Anthony from LSU. They knew who I was. But my brother-in-law knew them, all that kind of stuff. So it felt right, and it was great. I loved the workouts from the beginning.
So you just started as an attendee, as a member, and you're loving the workouts. And so what are the workouts?
So the workouts,
breaking them down. I know the F and the 45. It's like 45 minutes and all that. But for those that
functional 45 minutes.
Yeah, for those that are listening, they may not know exactly what F45 is.
So the workouts are different every day.
Okay.
That's one thing I loved about it as a member, because you never do the same workout twice.
Which is huge.
Never. Huge. I'd been at so many places, or I'd even done open gym. You have to think about what you're going to do. These are designed for you. They build on each other. You're never working the same muscle. So it was like easy, no brainer, right? So like there's 3 days a week that are strength focused, where we just like lift weights. Lifting weights can be you deadlifting 200 pounds. It can be you deadlifting 20 pounds. We have all levels. So when I say lifting weights, it's not like, just bodybuilding in there. We can get into more of that later, but a few days a week,
bodybuilding classes.
No, we're not doing that. But I'm just saying like the whole science behind the strength training.
Okay.
So a few days a week, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday are strength training days. Monday and Wednesday are cardio focused days. And then Friday and Saturday are what we call hybrids. And so like every other station will rotate HIIT or cardio and then a strength, HIIT and then strength. So you get both aspects.
So you're working out 7 days a week.
It's 7 days a week that we're open. Yes, we have a lot of class options. We're just open in the mornings on Saturday and Sunday, but I like having that option for people to get in because sometimes it's hard during the week. The F stands for functional, and as you said, the 45 is the length of time for the classes. But the functional kind of sets us apart too, because it's functional movements. So our movements are designed to carry over to your day-to-day life, right? If you're picking up your kid and putting it on your hip, or if you're pulling groceries out of your trunk and carrying them in, or carrying luggage to go, like all of our movements and workouts are designed for your everyday life, because that's how you function every day, and you want to get stronger in those ways. So it's not just static lifting, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I've actually seen that carry over a lot in my own life, doing yard work, or like I play tennis, like doing a lot of lateral things for that. So I think that kind of sets us apart too. One other thing to note is that I like to say it's one-on-one training in a class environment. A lot of people hear class and they think, there's an instructor at the front of the room or whatever, and it's a little different for us. Have you ever been in one?
I have not. I've had neighbors.
Okay.
That my neighbor's actually a member, and she goes, and she was yesterday we were at their house, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I just got back, and it was a fantastic workout." I'm like, "Great."
Does she go to mine or the other one?
She goes to the other one.
We all do the same workout, so yeah. The one-on-one aspect, we do have TVs. That's why I asked if you had ever been in one. We do have TVs at the front of the room that are demoing the movements. Obviously, our coaches at the beginning of class instruct on what the movements are and demo those for you. But then once the class starts, after a warm-up, we do have those for reference. So our instructors, or our coaches is what we call them, aren't having to be at the front of the room, like doing the workout with you to show you the movements. Like they're up there by professionals who are on the screen. We have F45 athletes around the world who are on the screen, and it frees up our coaches to walk around and check your form, make sure you're not doing anything that's going to injure yourself. If something's too easy, giving you a progression. If you have bad knees and you can't do this lateral lunge, then we'll give you a different way to do it. So I do love that aspect for people that need a little bit more attention, or even just for one-on-one engagement, So it's a little different class experience.
Yeah, you're not stuck to watching this person with a little, Britney
right,
Spears mic,
exactly,
where they're trying to give you direction and you're trying to mimic them, and you're like, what are we doing? And then if you're a first-time goer, you oftentimes have no idea what the heck you're doing.
Exactly. Or you're doing it wrong, but they don't know because they're having to be at the front leading it. They're not right next to you checking. So
that's the huge part about working out in a class setting. It's often tough from a normal class setting to have that. hey, you need to move your elbow this way, flare out a little bit more, whatever the motion or whatever the technique is.
Right.
You at least have that coach being able to walk around. I like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what we're there for. Member experience is our number one deal, obviously, but even when guests come in to try us out, like I want to know what their goals are, because we have a lot of technology, innovative technology and other resources we can use to help you reach that. But number one, what are your goals? How can I help you? Okay, let's develop a plan to help you get there, whether it's how many days a week you're going to come or whether it's certain workouts we're going to focus on. We have an InBody scanner that measures your body composition. We can measure that monthly. We don't really do nutrition plans, but we can give you basic information of where to start and give you other resources to go down that path. So all of our coaches are certified as well. A lot of places in town don't require that. It's a big deal.
So what are they certified by?
They're certified either by NASM, ACE, or ISSM, all accredited.
Let's say all those acronyms got to mean something.
Yes, all national accredited, basically private training or group training certifications.
Got it.
And so you do have to take a test to get that, and you have to do continuing ed to keep that up. There's a lot of people out there who actually are great at what they do, but they haven't taken a test in 20 years. Well, things have changed. So, I feel like we do bring a lot of value in that too.
Imagine taxiing on a plane looking toward the end of the runway. It seems so far away, it's even hard to see it. And that's what the concept of retirement probably felt like when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, way far in the distance, not visible or even a concern. But as you turn 50, something happens. Retirement suddenly seems like something real, something not too far away. In your 50s, you are rolling down the runway. Retirement is getting closer and closer, faster and faster, weeks and months zipping by. But are you even ready for a successful takeoff to retirement? Fear not, there's still runway left. But the time is now. Time to make progress and time to get a plan. The Runway Decade will help you get organized, get energized, and give you the direction you need to take off to your desired retirement. The Runway Decade, building a pre-retirement flight plan in your 50s.
So in the 45 minutes, I'm a big believer, and that's about all you need. From an average person that's just trying to remain healthy, remain fit, or at least just remain mobile, 45 minutes a day. I do 5 days a week. I'm not on a 7-day-a-week train. That's just, I need my weekend.
I don't actually recommend 7 days, so I think that's good. Yeah. What do you do?
So I do, I guess what you called it earlier, open gym, open concept, whatever. Yeah. I'm in there at 4 o'clock by myself.
Okay.
And doing my own thing. I've got a regimen for each day of the week. It's like a different body part or a different subsect of muscles. So it's like Mondays, I started with legs. Okay. Then I go to chest, then I go to back, and then shoulders, and then arms. Yeah.
There's a lot of apps out there, actually, that can kind of help you with stuff like that if you don't know what to do either, Yeah. A lot of people don't like having to come up with things on their own, so there are apps that will help you. But for me, I like the accountability. I like, and that's huge to know if you're paying for a service and you have to go somewhere and do it, and you have people there who are going to check on you. If you haven't been in a week, I'm texting you, hey, what's up? Where you been? We also in our app have remote workouts, so you can do them at home, or if you're traveling, you can get the day's workout and do it while you're traveling. So there are a lot of resources like that kind of help hold you accountable. And I'll be honest, since I was a member there, I felt the community aspect from the beginning. And Bo and Anthony did a great job of initializing that, right? And I feel like that we have really upheld that. And so when you do come and you meet people, you get you want to go because you know they're going to be there. They're going to be texting you, your buddies at the gym. So maybe it's a little more social for people like me too, but there's a lot of built-in resources that help hold you accountable, stay on track, that kind of thing. Maybe not everybody's as disciplined as you, Patrick.
Well, yes, and having a workout partner is huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
And So much so that somebody was telling me that if you're not going to go to the gym, don't text your workout partner. You're not going to make it because you're instantly going to have 2 people not show up.
It's true.
So at least if one person, because you've got that accountability. That accountability. And it's like for me, I'm a very much a creature of habit and routine. So like every week, my workouts are basically the same, although the weights, thankfully, progressively get heavier, right? And for me, like it's now a part of my routine. And if I miss a day, like this morning when the sky was falling out, I was like, maybe it's better if I stay at the house to make sure nothing happens.
I was driving in that at
4:45
this morning, but
yeah. See, I was like, I'm not gonna go drive out in that. I was like,
bad.
It's okay to have a breather.
Then? Like if you skip a day, you feel off.
100%. It is. You feel off, whether it's physically or mentally.
Yeah.
You're not as sharp. Like for me, I was sharp. Maybe my day just kind of was something that I got everything thrown at me at once, and so maybe that led to it. But no, in a general day, you feel a little off when you don't have that exertion in the morning, kind of like waking your body up, getting your kickstarting everything. So it was missed for sure. I could tell a difference from myself.
I'm a routine person. I function so much better on routine, so I get that for sure. It's kind of just preference, I think, and then I always try to encourage people like, hey, just come try us for a week. Just come try like 2 to 3 classes, because a lot of people think they're happy with their workouts, and then they come try our class and they're like, how did I burn 560 calories in 45 minutes when I normally burn 350 in an hour or whatever? And it's like the science behind a lot of our workouts, a lot goes into it. Or we have a lot of, I call them meatheads. We have a lot of big bulk guys who work out with us, and they don't think it's going to be hard because they look at, it's just some barbells on the front, and it's like, okay, we're doing certain pulses, or maybe we're doing overload. Today was an overload day. So it was just 4 sets at each station of lifting, but some of the movements that we had maybe had a pause or a pulse, and so guys weren't able to even do their normal weight. And so like just tweaking little things like that you might not do on your own. So that's what I would just say to somebody like you, to just try it and see what you think.
Yeah, so
not that I'm trying to push you out of your zone, but
So getting more into that conversation of the science behind the classes in that 45, walk us through kind of some of that, because it's true. When you're doing like an open, like my stuff is more static and not as, I'm not sitting there monitoring my heart rate and pumping, making sure it's up to a degree. I'm also listening to like basically very calm, like violent, like I'm not listening to hype music.
Oh, you're not listening to hip hop or Metallica. Okay.
No, I have a chill morning mix playlist on Spotify, and that's what I'm listening to.
It sounds like yours is more mental time for you, which I totally appreciate.
It really
Any
is.
kind of fitness is mental anyway, but hey, if that's what works for you, I love it. So the science behind it, thank God I don't have to write these workouts, so I can't speak to a lot of the science, but I can tell you we have researchers, we have athletic specialists, I guess I will call them, and scientists who all design the workouts. Our workouts come in 4-week phases. Okay. So actually this is the last week of our current phase. So on April 1st, on Monday, we'll start a new phase. So for the next 4 weeks, we'll have a group of exercises, and they each have a name. So like it might be on Monday, you might do Titans, and you might do on another day, it might be Athletica. They all have a name. But so maybe let's say every Monday is Titans, but every Monday looks different. So Titans will have a certain format. It might be, okay, we have 3 pods with 3 exercises in each pod. These are going to be the sets and the timing, 35 on, 25 off, or whatever. But the next day will be totally different. It might be like, hey, we're doing 2 laps around the room with 1 set at each station, and it's a hybrid day. So they are building the phases and the daily workouts based on each other. This current phase that we're in, one day in particular, I'll give you an example. We have one particular pod, and it's basically 6 combo sets. It's like kind of an activation and stretch movement built in with a performance movement. And so the first week, you were encouraged to kind of warm up with a couple sets, then do your medium weight, and then peak out. In between each of those, we're doing an activation movement with it. So it was like bench press, and then like one week it was like band stretches, seems simple, but by the time you get to your 6th combo set and you've been building the entire time, like you're kind of overloading and you're like barely getting up the last 2 reps. So the second week, you're doing the same thing, but the activation movement is just a little bit different. So that particular day, we are doing the bench press was the only movement that was the same every week. Everything else changed, but it allows you to see by the end of that 4 weeks how much stronger you got. I mean, your muscle fibers are breaking down, they're rebuilding, you're, increasing your weight. And they will throw in stuff like that every once in a while just so you can kind of see where you were and where you came just in 4 weeks, And that's just one movement that they repeated. On all the other days, they're changing it up every day. If we did squats of this kind yesterday, if we do squats again later in the week, it's going to be a different kind of squat. It might be a front squat instead of a back squat. It might be something with an overhead press. A lot of function. They do a lot of combo movements because that's more life function, right?
Yeah,
So,
and that's what I love about it is that it is just very life function.
Yeah.
And very, pick up your kids, pick up whatever. It's more working out to live in
Exactly.
a sense where you're able
Yeah.
to do different things during the day. And you're like, when I used to do that 4 weeks ago, I would get sore. I'd be hurting the next
back would
day.
be
My
hurt,
back
yeah.
would be hurting. And now it's like, well, I can do that. I don't feel anything.
right,
Because at the end of the day, what are we out there working out for?
right,
Majority of.
Right.
Trying to stay healthy and active.
right.
That's it.
I read a meme the other day that said you only live once, and it said no. You live every day. You die once, And it's like that's a great reminder of just like we're working to just be better every day, right? Whether it's just to maintain where we are or get stronger. But as we age, we're decreasing in everything, right? I mean, our
Right.
skin's sagging, our muscle mass is decreasing, our bone density is decreasing, especially in females. And so the strength training is really important for all that. I mean, when we're 80 years old, we need muscle and strength just to push out of a chair, right? So all that helps all of those things, but it also helps strengthen our joints to protect from injuries and things like that too, because that happens more and more as we age too. So it really is just to get stronger for everyday life as we age, and that can start at 20. It could start at 40. It doesn't matter when you start, as long as you start. So yeah.
Yeah, you're never too old or young to start.
Absolutely.
At least getting healthy and active.
Right.
You know?
Right. We just did a 45-day challenge. It ended last week. We had winners and all this stuff. But the whole goal was really, we've had teams before and it's gotten real competitive, but this time we focused a little more on the holistic side of just developing healthy habits. So not just the working out, but sleep, nutrition, hydration, recovery. You shouldn't work out 7 days a week, right? You need a day or two to recover. What should you be doing on those days to recover? All that kind of stuff, just to learn and build healthy habits,
Right.
to tie in with that. Some people, like I said earlier, we want to know your goals. Some people come in and they're like, I don't know what my goal is. I'm like, okay, so it sounds like maybe you just want some consistency, That's okay. Let's help you with the consistency part or establish a routine. Some people do come in and they're like, we had one lady, a little bit older lady, and she said, I want to be able to do 5 unassisted pull-ups. And I was like, I can't even do an unassisted pull-up, so I love this goal. And in 5 weeks, she was able to do 4. She's still working on her 5th. But, that's amazing. And, her little numbers and stats didn't change a whole bunch, but I'm like, you are stronger, though. At the end of the day, you are reaching your goal and you're stronger. That's huge, So just the small wins, just to propel us forward to then say, okay, what's another goal this week, So
Yeah, and I think small wins, whether it's in health, fitness, or even in business, you have to set the smaller wins to build up to that massive win, right? So you can't say
Absolutely.
you're going to do X or Y without having some incremental goals in between there, because then
Right.
you're going to fall short in one day.
Right.
And be like, well, the whole thing's done, and now I'm kaput.
Right.
I'm gonna
And
take
you have
a
to
back seat.
celebrate them. I mean, you have to
Right.
set those, and then when you reach them, celebrate them. Yes, to reach that bigger goal for sure. And I don't know if I would use the word celebrate a failure, but you learn from everything. So if you
Yeah.
tried something that didn't work, that's okay. I don't know if I would celebrate it, but I'm still I'm thankful for it. I'm grateful for it,
100%.
right? I know what to do next time. So
Recognize it was a failure, understand why it failed, but then ultimately take why and how and see if you can spin it to not have that happen again in the future and
Right.
not repeat it. And then ultimately you've got a lesson learned
Growth.
as opposed to just being stuck in the failure and like, oh, I'm not going to get past
Right.
this, you know?
Right.
Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau, you won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out, Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you.
One of my pet peeves is the victim mentality. And I'm just like, look, take something, whatever it is, your situation that you were born into, the situation you were handed, situation that wasn't fair, I don't know. But like you're only responsible for you, right? So you make your decisions, you grow from it, and you move on. So been a lot of growing and learning for me this year after taking over, but that's been part of it, and I've learned a lot. So
It's like why you make your bed in the morning. You know, if everything else went wrong, horribly wrong that day, you come up to a freshly made bed and you started with a win.
Exactly.
Right?
That's a good analogy. Yes.
It's a huge but simple element to your day. It's like
Yeah.
just wake up, make your bed, you've got a victory. Celebrate it, move
Yeah.
on. You know?
And isn't it so weird when you come home? It's just like so much more stressful if it's not.
It throws, like for me, it like throws my brain out of whack. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, the bed's not made.
Well, I get stressed out of chaos anyway. Like
Yeah.
I'm not OCD, but I like things neat and organized. So yeah, just little things like that. That's just like that makes your mind a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, we have enough of an entangled mess in our brains. At least let one thing just be nice and clean to
Right.
come home to, and you're able to recognize this is my place for relaxation.
Yeah.
You know, so you threw in there, you came in, took over. Well, let's back up
Back
a little
up.
bit, right? Because this is you initially were member number 1 or whatever your number card says of the particular location that you're at, which is on the corner of Highland and Bluebonnet here in
Yes.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yes.
So at 45, you're there as a member. You're loving the workouts. You're loving the vibe, the whole environment. Everything is taken in and being great. At what point were you like, I'm going to buy this place one day?
Okay. So that's such a big loaded question.
Look, let's unpack that, right?
So I think it was a lot like you in that, like the working out was kind of my mental, right? I needed that for me. I had older kids at the time when I started working out there as a foundation member, and to give you a little bit of background, I was a photographer for 20 plus years, so I had a photography business. I closed my storefront around 2012 or 13.
You were a photographer with a storefront.
Well, I did it out of my house initially when I first started it in the late 90s. And then eventually moved it out, yes. But then it was very small, mom and pop. Like, it was actually kind of right there on Lobdell. You remember it used to be Lionsgate? I think it was Stone and Cloth for a while. It's something else now.
Yep.
Okay, so it was in there, next to Lionsgate.
Grew up 3 houses down.
Yeah, there you go. So I was there for a little while. But ultimately decided I wanted to be a little bit more of a full-time mom. I was going through some stuff with my daughter in particular, but kids in general. I was like paying people to pick up my kids, and I was working. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I started this business to be more available to them. So kind of closed that around 2012, 2013. Wasn't planning on really doing it anymore, but did end up doing a lot of photography part-time over the years since then. So once they kind of started driving and stuff, I had a little more time on my hands, right? So I was trying to fill my days with part-time photography, working out, playing tennis. I did a lot of volunteer work. I still do some. I don't have as much time for it as I'd like, but I was involved with a lot of volunteering. So I wasn't really looking to buy any business, is what I'm saying. I was kind of
enjoying.
I was kind of
life of where it
enjoying
was.
the
Yeah.
spot, yes. But I did love working out, and I loved the people there. Got to know Bo and Anthony really well. All the trainers, great people there. Got made buddies at the gym, all that. Fast forward a couple years, and Bo actually approached one of my friends who was a trainer there. I actually got her hired there. I was like, "Oh, you need to hire this girl," and he did, and she was awesome.
You're just a great connector. I love it. I love it.
I don't mind being a connector, but he approached her about would she be interested because they might be looking to sell. She approached me and said, "I've never run a business before. You have. I can do the athletic part of it. You do the business side of it." So that's kind of how it started when we started in discussions with them. And the more I learned about it, the more excited I got about it. She ultimately decided it wasn't for her. And I just decided to still move forward. I talked, my husband, Andy, I talked to Andy about it, and I was like, I kind of feel like I'm already in. Like, I know she's out now, but like, I really think this is like my next phase, because by that time the kids were out of the house. I'm an empty nester. And I do like working. I like working, and obviously I like working out, so that kind of made sense. So yeah, that's kind of how that happened. I mean, it was probably 4 or 5 months of negotiations and paperwork and all that, but yeah.
So let's go through that to the extent we can.
Yeah.
Right? Because so F45 from a corporate structure is a franchise.
Yes.
Right? And so it's a license to do business under the name of and sell and all that other stuff as a franchisee. Mm-hmm. So walk us through, because there's probably some people that can relate to or are thinking of going a franchisee route as their first entrepreneurial endeavor. Well, this was not your first entrepreneurial endeavor that we're going to go back to a little bit, but walk us through kind of what the franchisee experience was, at least with F45.
Yeah, so I have a couple other friends who are franchisee owners, not with F45, but other things. And so I think, prepared myself for what it might be. And they don't tell you a whole lot on the front end because they're not going to give you any information until you sign.
Right, you got to sign that NDA.
Yeah, they're not
right,
releasing any. So you really don't really know what you're getting into. And, I had asked Bo and Anthony a few things, but they were there's a lot they can't tell me either. So anyway, it wasn't too bad. It was a lot of legal documents, a lot of things you just got to sign and say, I agree to.
Yeah. Sign away your first grandchildren.
Yeah, exactly. And, but there's some compliance standards. There's certain things that aren't negotiable. So it was kind of, I think, what I expected, just based on what I knew from other friends who had done franchises before. But I learned a lot more after I signed and we got all the legal work done. They require you as a new owner to go to induction, which is training at headquarters in Austin.
Makes sense.
And they required me to go for 2 weeks. And I was like, 2 weeks? Good Lord. I just took over. And now I have to leave this business for 2 weeks. And I was like, okay. So it was a lot. It was a lot of information, I will tell you. It was every day for 2 weeks. We got one day off, one Sunday off in a whole 2 weeks. And you're working out and doing their stuff every day too, which that wasn't that big of a deal. But you're just tired by the end of the day. But it was a lot of good information. It was just like overload. And so I feel like even for the past year, I've been trying to just incorporate everything I learned, And most of it we have. But to the extent of, so F45 headquarters or global or whatever you want to call it, has this certain expectancy of what an F45 studio is supposed to look like. That's where compliance comes in, right?
Right.
But unless they're going to every studio and checking to see if that owner or that studio manager is upholding that, which they weren't for a while, they don't really know if that's being done. So they have, in the last year, we got a new CEO about a year ago. There were a lot of changes, and they're being a lot tougher on compliance and trying to make things a little more uniform as far as the member experience, right? It's all designed for a certain reason, and they want every studio to not just look the same, but be the same experience for all of the members. So So that's kind of what we're working through right now, is just kind of trying to bring everything to compliance and almost, I won't say retrain the staff, but some of the staff was never trained at induction or anything like that, so they don't even know really what it's supposed to be like. So my head coach just went at the beginning of March, and she came back and she was like, thank you so much for sending me. Like, I learned so much, and she's worked there for 2 years. So it's very valuable information, and so now we have to, like, spread that to the team. And I want to grow all of our coaches, and, you know, whether they stay with me long term or not, it's still great stuff to learn and not enforce.
Yeah. Instill.
Yeah. Thank you.
And the franchise model, from the franchisor standpoint, you kind of have to, you know, rule with an iron fist to a degree, right? Because if not, you have people coming to you saying, I want to buy a franchise agreement and I want to operate one of your locations in my city, town, whatever. And so they're instilling a lot of trust and faith in somebody that they have never really met or have really much background outside of 2 weeks. I mean, in 2 weeks, over the grand scheme of things, is not that much. From a training standpoint, whether it's a corporate location,
Right.
they could have a team member spend with them for a year.
Right.
And say, go open this other location. You know, and you can deploy your team that you've trained and cultivated, whereas now you're coming in saying, I'm a you know, founding member.
Yeah.
But from the operational side of things, you got to learn all this stuff.
Right.
And it's totally new. And, you know, so having that kind of grasp on, we got to have uniformity. Because I'm sure you can go to different F-45s across the country if you're visiting or something like that. Your membership carries, I would imagine.
It actually doesn't right now, but like, it's up to each individual owner. So I actually honor, like, drastically discounted drop-in rates. If you're from the Houston F-45, but you're in town in Baton Rouge and you reach out to me, I'm going to give you a discounted rate to just drop in, whether it's a week pass or one time or whatever. But it is in discussions to see, it's called Passport. It's in discussions. They're testing it out in some other countries to see about the whole exchange thing. So there's some chatter about that. So we'll see if that comes through.
So on the pricing front, does it work as a per class system, or is it a monthly retainer they're paying?
We do
every
have
month?
class pack options, but they're not the best deal. You pay a little bit more per class that way. So we have we actually have several options for membership. You can pay month to month, unlimited. We have a limited option. You can also prepay 3 months, 6 months, a year, and save up to 30% if you do it that way. We offer military and student discounts and family discounts as well. So there's a lot of options. Usually what I tell people is grab our trial. We always have a trial. A 7-day trial is currently what we're offering. It's good until Sunday still. Probably won't be when this comes out. But anyway, we always have a trial on our website. And so if you grab a trial, it gives you that many days to just come in and try classes. No strings attached. I'm like, just come in and try them, because every day's different. See what you like, see what you don't like. And then based on that, think, okay, how many days, because I see myself coming here, we can make a recommendation for membership, or if class packs are a better option for you, we can do that too. Like, we have a lot of people that, like marathon runners, that only want to come on straight days. So they do a limited membership because they don't need the unlimited.
Right.
Or we have a lot of traveling sales reps. We actually have a couple people that live in 2 states. They'll live here and they live in Texas. And so it just kind of depends on the situation, how many days a week you're going to commit to, what your goals are. We can make recommendations like that. But the visiting, yes, the passport is in discussion, so we'll see what happens. But you were probably about to say, you said when you visit other studios, there should be this uniform experience, right? They all kind of vary a little bit right now. So I think they're working on doing a little bit better training and things like that. And they're changing some of the compliance and things like that. But
and that's the challenge of a franchise model as a whole, is maintaining uniformity across locations.
Yeah.
You know, and thinking back on it a little bit more, it makes sense that the memberships may not carry from franchise to franchise, because if you're getting paid on a per class basis as a franchise owner, if you have a drop in,
right,
you know, how are you going to how are you going to capture that revenue?
Right.
Well, having to report back to corporate. We had 6 people from the Birmingham
Right.
branch this week. We had
Right.
12 from Montgomery.
That's
it's like,
been the biggest obstacle, I think,
Yeah.
is the pricing, because we're all individual owners. And so there's not really a way to do that. For instance, my bi-state living people, like, okay, if they join in Baton Rouge, but they're going to Texas half the time, how's that work? Because they're not getting any of the income, so, but they're using their facilities. So that's part of the obstacles we got to work through and figure that part out.
Well, then different markets lend different pricing.
Yeah, absolutely.
A
Atlanta
class
is
here,
different.
oh,
Yes,
100%.
yes.
A class in Baton Rouge
Yes.
is not going to be the same price as a Dallas and Atlanta, a Los Angeles. You're not going to have the same pricing for those 2 same identical hopeful classes.
Right.
Welcome to the brand new Falaya mobile app. We took all the same tech that's helped hundreds of people sell their homes themselves and packed it into an easy-to-use app for your phone. When you download the Falaya mobile app on either the Apple or Android App Store, you'll immediately be able to see the power of this game-changing tool. From the seller's dashboard, you can navigate to all the information that you need. We intentionally separated everything into key groups, such as tasks to be completed, buyer leads for your listing, and contact information for everyone involved through closing. When you get an offer on your property, you can simply review and respond all within the app. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to monitor everything that's going on with your property from listed to sold. It's truly the power of Falaya in the palm of your hand. Download the app and see for yourself. Falaya, it's real estate reimagined.
Yeah, it's interesting. We have a lot of webinars and performance calls and things like that where I get to hear what other people are charging or what's going on in their area, and it's pretty interesting. Ironically, Baton Rouge is up there. We have, I don't remember the numbers. I don't want to say them because I'll get them wrong, but we have more studios, like fitness studios per capita than most.
Like of F45s?
No, just
in general.
Fitness boutique studios in general. We have a lot for our town. A lot.
So fitness boutique studios, meaning
class-based,
okay.
Anything that's not big open gym.
Got it.
Like an Iron Tribe is actually what I consider, in the same category as us, but like a Planet Fitness isn't.
Right.
You've got Tone, you've got Tread, or I guess Tread is Tone now, but all these other people, there's a lot of yoga places, there's a lot of Pilates places, there's a lot in Baton Rouge, actually more than most even medium cities have, so per capita.
Do you feel that can cause saturation?
Absolutely, yeah. And so you definitely have to take the pricing into consideration,
right?
The saturation, or if somebody's been here for 6 months and their friends trying this, there's always something new, So it's definitely a business marketing game, but
well, and for y'all on a per class. Sounds like no contract specific.
Doesn't have to, no. Yeah.
Going to the traditional open gym where it's like you want a 12, 18, or 24-month contract. And
yeah.
It's like, well, what happens if I leave? Well, you pay us the difference.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, now I'm going to be bound by this and stay here. But for the boutique, places, you lend flexibility, which kind of gives way to that. Well, I'm gonna go here this day and here that day. But it's ultimately comes down to the individual. It's like what's going to work best for you, and every class is not going to work for you,
right? But and the value, we do feel like we recognize it's an investment, but we do feel like you get a lot of value for investment more than I've been at some of those boutique fitness studios, so I know they didn't have a scanner, they didn't have the at-home workouts, they don't have somebody texting me saying, "Hey, where are you?" So there is a lot of value. We also have exclusive partnerships with a few businesses in town. We're building that list a little bit more, but we have 3 or 4 that our members get discounts at places if they go and things like that. So there is a lot of built-in value there. But what's most important to me for our members is just their experience overall and community. We do a lot of events outside the gym that's not about working out, We celebrated our 4th birthday or anniversary at Fred's with a crawfish bowl recently. So we all get to hang out or whatever. We're having a volleyball night at Mango's coming up, just fun things like that. I'd love to get involved a little more with community races or fundraising and things like that. We've done some fundraisers, but whether it's our members or just other people in the community. So that's super important to me, because if it's people you're seeing every day at the gym or almost every day, and that's your fam, like, let's support each other. Let's see what we can do together. So,
and it keeps everybody not only accountable but healthy, right? So the biggest thing within working out from the mass population viewpoint, and gyms in particular, is that drop off in March.
yeah.
You know, people have New Year's resolutions from January till February.
Mm-hmm.
You know, half of them stop after the first week or 2 weeks, and then you have some trailers in February. But it's like really in March and April is when you see your extreme lull.
Yeah, and
And so
part of that is like spring break, but
Yeah.
also everything gets busy. There's weddings, there's showers, there's, graduations, everything. Yes, and we actually have the same experience in October. I don't know if it's just us
October?
because of football season, high school football, LSU football, Southern football. Then you're getting into holidays. I noticed that again. I'm just in over a year, but I noticed that October, November, and then then people are like, well, it's December. I'll just wait till January.
I want the New Year
Yeah.
special or whatever it may be.
So we usually have like a Black Friday deal or something like that, and then but now your people that have been in a routine, they might hit a bad week or two, but they'll get back in it. But if you have somebody that's just starting in August or September, that's definitely a challenge to kind of keep those people coming back and keep them focused. But that's our job, to help them do that.
And your model lends itself to being more successful than an open gym concept.
Yeah, we
Right.
think so. Yeah.
I mean, because you've got that, hey, where you at? You come in today, you build that community, and you get that family feeling where it's, if I don't make it to class on Monday, I'm letting down everybody else, not just myself. You know, like, I'm not going to see this person, I'm not going to see that person. Like, I've got to go.
Yeah, we're going to notice if you're not there, But even more than that, I don't want people to think like we're like on your back
you're
about
chaining
it.
them
But
to the table.
But
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you are there, we're checking in with you, like, hey, how's this going? We have a couple of people getting married soon. What do you want to do in the next 2 months before the wedding? Like, let us help you. Or and we have some people that are going through some pretty traumatic life things right now, and we try to be there for them for that kind of stuff too. So it really, my hashtag is always F45fam, because I do feel like we have built this little family and community, and so I hope that they all feel that way. But that's always my goal. So.
Yeah. And what do y'all? So you've been in this at a year now, or coming up on a year?
After February last year, so just over a year, yeah.
Okay, so you're over a year mark. Have you taken a look at the book of business and been like, who's still with us from that year ago, and who's dropped off?
Of course.
Well, so like, what have you noticed over the year? Do you have a big number of people dropping, or are
that's
you
part of the
you're
thing with
staying
retention,
there?
right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we're here to help you meet your goals and help you stay accountable. But from the business side, if you're not coming in here and using this, you're not going to stay around, right? So my goal is to help you reach your goals and be a better you. And my goal is to keep you in my life. So, how can we help you do that? So there's definitely anybody that has had some major life events. Sometimes it's hard for them to make it in because they've changed jobs, right? So that are moving. We have a lot of college kids that come to our studio, and so they'll graduate and they move. So moving, new jobs is number one usually for attrition. We actually had a trainer who had been there from the beginning who left recently, and I think we had some followers who just wanted to follow her. That's going to happen. I don't love it, obviously. I'd want them to stay with us. I think our program is better, but that's their decision. So there's always going to be attrition, I think, with any business. But my goal is to, like I always say, experience, but also show you the value and let you know that we're here for you. Right. So if you are getting all of that somewhere else and you want to be somewhere else, that is your prerogative, and we wish you the best. But I don't know any other place in Baton Rouge that gives that much support as we do. So that's why I try to remind people.
Yeah, and you need that in this environment, right? You need that support, and I'm sure after COVID, I kind of saw an uptick in people coming to what F45 has to offer, meaning the class models, right? So we were so far removed from everybody for
Right.
a year or two, and it's crazy to think that we're coming up on like 3 or 4 years since that was a thing.
I know.
And after the fact, everybody's like, I want to get to the classes. I want to be involved.
Yes.
I need that human-to-human interaction.
Yeah.
And so that has kind of become an attractive feat within F45. And then the acceptance of the new kid on the block in Baton Rouge, because from my understanding, F45 is relatively new to our area, geographically speaking.
Yeah, I may be mistaken in this, but I think that we were the first one in Louisiana.
Yeah.
If not the first, definitely the second, because New Orleans at one time had 3. They only have 2 now, but I think we were even before New Orleans. And since then, I think there's 5 now. So it was kind of not that popular in the South, except for Texas, because Austin, right, headquarters, and there were a lot. But in the last 4 to 5 years, the South has really grown up. I don't think Mississippi has any, but Alabama has 1 or 2. Florida, Georgia have several. We have several now. Even Tennessee, Nashville, all those places have them. But they had kind of gotten real big in like the Northeast and some other areas first. But now we're in Canada. I mean, we're in, I want to say 16 countries. It might be more than that.
Holy
It might be 20
smokes.
now. It's over 2,000 globally. Somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500. They're growing so fast, I'm not exactly sure. But, yeah, it's catching on. And I'm telling you, it's the program. I mean, you come and you experience it, and you're like, dang, that was a good workout just in 45 minutes, and I love the people here. So, yeah, it's a good thing.
So on the franchisee bit, from my understanding, most franchises will have a geographical map that you can have locations opened up in.
Yes.
Is that similar for
Yes.
F45?
So unfortunately, I don't know a lot about the opening part of it because I didn't do that
You
part.
bought in
but
later. Yeah,
they
yeah.
do have the geographical map. There is actually still room, one area in Baton Rouge where one could still be opened. I was approached actually by corporate about that, but it's the area is really near LSU, and I just don't see that being a good investment. The rec center's right there, and a lot of other riffraff that I don't care to really bust my butt marketing to, so passed on it. If anybody's out there and wants to, throw their hat in the ring, go for it.
This episode is proudly presented by Gage. Gage is a local company here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. For over 40 years, Gage has provided businesses with the very best telecommunications, IT, and standby power services available. Gage has a variety of services, including Gage Cloud Voice. It is the last phone system your business will ever need. You need to give your business the ability to be accessible anytime, anywhere, and with Gage's cloud-based phone system, you'll be able to accomplish just that. Not only do they have Gage Cloud Voice, they have fully managed IT services that are proactive network monitoring, 24/7, 365, help desk, business continuity. They are there for you. What you're also going to need is some cybersecurity. Gage is there to safeguard your business from potential cyber threats, even when you aren't aware they exist. Gage also is power and leaders in standby generators. They are the #1 Cummins dealer on the Gulf Coast and provide generators to homes and businesses of any size so you can keep life going. Gage, better connected, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show. So to follow that up, are you looking to add on locations to your business, like start to create a portfolio of these
I don't
locations?
know if I want to work that much in retirement. I'm nowhere close to retirement, by the way, but I mean, it's full time. I'm not an owner that just sits back. I'm involved. I'm the manager. So, and there were several months where we were short on staff and I taught 20 classes a week. So I'd have to be able to step in at any point. But I think for the next few years at least, will definitely be the manager. Andy's nowhere close to retiring. So until that happens and we're like traveling the world all the time, then I want to be involved. And so at this point, I'm not ready to take on more. We'll see in 3 or 4 years if I'm ready to delegate some of that stuff, then maybe. Having good staff makes all the difference.
100%.
My head coach has actually been a coach with us for a couple years, but she just was promoted to that role, and she is like making my life so awesome right now. So like, if I were to have like 10 more of her, then maybe I would, buy another one. So we'll see what happens over the next few years. But no big changes right now.
You tell me you haven't hit the runway decade yet?
Not yet. I'm actually a little bit younger than Andy, so he's probably right on that runway right now. But I'm 7 years younger, so
you got, by the time he gets to his runway, you're just starting.
Be pushing him in a wheelchair. No, just joking, baby, just joking. Oh man,
I'm gonna clip that bit and just send it to him. Like, hey Andy, check this out.
No, we are enjoying life right now. We're both working full time, but like our kids, we're empty nesters. We have one about to graduate from college and one that's 3 years in. So we're at that age we're gonna see where they end up and what's going on with them, and just kind of enjoying empty nest life and the freedom to do some things, but definitely still working full time. And I like to work. I really do. So it keeps me busy. It keeps me productive. So,
well, and it's kind of a cyclical pattern, right? Where you had this career you were building up as a photographer, and you built this business, and it was like, well, my family really needs me right now.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, well, my family can kind of take care of themselves.
They
Maybe you want to go dabble. Right, they don't want me. You know, we gotta herd them in just to have dinner together or something.
Yeah, actually, it really is. We're actually very close with our kids, but they both go to school out of town. They're at the same college, but they go. So that makes it easy. If we travel, we can see them both. But if they're ever home, it's like, okay, what are we doing? It's like we gotta use this time. But it's fun too because they're adults now. 22 and 21. So like, we can travel, we go to concerts together, we go and drink or listen to a band together, or we, so it is a new little phase that we're enjoying. So we'll see what happens over the next. We're also at that phase where a lot could change in the next 5 or 10 years too. So we'll see.
Yeah. And it's being an owner of a single location kind of lends itself to a little bit of flexibility, not a whole lot, but a little bit enough. Now that you've got a good team in place,
right. So one thing that was a little more of a challenge for me this year than I anticipated was the staffing. So I knew all the trainers, right, because I had been working out under them, and I had no intentions of getting rid of anybody, so I kind of inherited this staff. But I think I had a few more changes than the staff was anticipating. So there was a little bit of pushback from a couple people. There was also one or two that ended up leaving because of actually some things weren't met compliance-wise, certification-wise. They didn't want to go through that. Their prerogative, that's fine. I hated to lose them, but that's what happened. And so I did not anticipate as big of a struggle as we had with staffing this year, where I had to step in and do a lot of the teaching and hire new people a little bit more than I anticipated. I think I thought, these people are great. They're going to stay around. They're going to love me, and change is hard for some people. So I get that. And I'm not saying I made every decision correct either. I was learning too along the way. But we've worked through all that. We have a great team. And so that part is probably my biggest hesitation about taking on other locations or anything else too, because if you have one or two coaches that step out, like you're having to step in and do that. And I just don't want to be tied down that much if I can help it. So you're right. One location kind of simplifies that a little bit more.
Yeah, going to two, you're kind of bouncing back and forth, you know?
Yes.
So makes sense.
Yeah.
So, well, Heather, as we kind of start to wind down the show, we do have a set list of questions.
Oh, gosh, okay.
Very hard-hitting questions. Okay. I'm sure Andy very much warned you about this.
He did not warn me, but I'm ready.
Okay. All right. So the first one is, to the penny, I'm kidding.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
What is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
Oh, my gosh. I haven't tried to slide into second in a long time, but I used to be a really good slider in softball. I don't know if I could still do it.
So you slid feet first, or slid with
I just was
the hand
really
first?
Good at sliding, but I haven't tried it in probably 30 years, so 20 years.
Sounds like we just need to pack this up, Jay, and we're gonna go on the road, man. We're gonna go. We're gonna go to the dirt and the dugout in the parking lot and start trying to slide from first to second.
I don't know. I wasn't really. I've kind of always been an old soul, so I wasn't like a real mischievous or adventurous, I wouldn't say, kind of kid. So I'm kind of blanking on anything else, and that was probably more like middle school to high school. But that's a good question.
Well, sliding comes into play with you're kind of not thinking about any ramifications at all of going and doing that motion through the dirt. You know? So,
and I will say, you don't know this about me, but I'm an all or nothing person. And maybe you've picked up, like, I'm very honest with people. Sometimes people take it the wrong way, but like, so I think that comes into play too. Like, if I'm going, I'm going, not thinking about the, like you said.
But I love it though. The honesty is huge,
Yeah.
So, okay. What are 3 lessons you've learned along the way? You've had a full-on entrepreneurial, your own brand, your own business, to now this franchisee model from 2 different business components. What are 3 lessons that you've kind of gathered along your route?
My first lesson that I've learned in not just business but personal too is just that, like, trust God, because he knows what happens in the end, right? So I am a big believer in everything happens for a reason. We may not ever know that reason, or maybe it is revealed. I don't know, but not freak out in the moments and just trust God. That's number 1. Number 2 is trust my gut. That's been a big thing in business over the years. It might be 6 months later and I'm like, I should have done this. I felt like I should have done it, but I questioned myself. I should have done it. And so that's been a big thing, is not to overthink things. Just trust your gut, pray on it, think about it for a day or so, and then, like, go with it. And the third thing, and Andy says this all the time, he has to remind me sometimes, is like, you can only control what you can control. Don't let this stress you out or work you up, right?
Right.
And that kind of goes in with the other things too that I just said, but, like, you can only control what you can control. So that comes into what people think about you, what other people are saying about you. I can't control that, right? What somebody thinks I should be doing with my business, like, I can't control that either. I can listen to advice, but I can only control what I think is right and what I think is best for my customers or members. So
yeah, I like it. I love it. So, what is something you love about Baton Rouge?
I love the probably just the, like, we're big LSU fans. You probably know that. When I think about Baton Rouge, I think of food and LSU. So, like, I love going to sporting events, and just, like, it doesn't matter what anybody's dealt with on that day in their family, with their parents, sick ones, jobs, anything. They're all coming to watch that sporting event, and we all are, like, cheering for it. Like, we all have this common goal, right? So I love that feeling. I'll tell you a short little snippet. We used to have 4 season tickets several years ago. We've downgraded for football. We've downgraded to 2 now, but there was talk about if Andy wanted to do with some other people and do Stadium Club or whatever. I'm like, no, I like being in the crowd. Like, I like being closer to the field. I like being with people. Like, you're cheering, you're high-fiving people you never even met, right?
It's a community event. You're like, we're all in this together.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's like some of the same people around our seats that we get to know, but there's also, like, some company must own the ones next to us because it's always somebody different. And I mean, like, we're high-fiving. I mean, so we all, like, are on the same team. We're all going for the same thing. So when I think about Baton Rouge, that is probably, like, the first thing that comes to mind. And so we have some of the best memories with our kids doing that. So, yeah.
Sporting events bring out the best, worst, and nice.
Yeah.
It's everything. It brings out all the emotions.
There's been some worst ones too, but yeah, for sure.
So for the final question, Heather, how can I help you?
How can you help me?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. I do want you to come try. I want you to come.
I want to. What's the earliest class you offer?
5:15 a.m.
It's too late.
Too late?
I'm back at home at that point. I'm back at home about to head to the shower.
So what time do you wake up?
About 4.
I normally wake up at 4:30, but I woke up at 3:45 this morning. That thunder woke me
It was
up. I
bad.
couldn't go back to sleep. So that's why I said I'm going home tonight and going to bed after this.
I don't blame you. I'm a 4 a.m. I'm to the gym by about 4:08.
What time do you leave in the afternoon?
To go
To
home?
go home.
4:30.
We have a 5:30. No, we actually have a 4:30. If you can leave like 15 minutes earlier, come for 4:30. It's 45 minutes. So you're done by 5:15.
See, I get that.
And we also have a lunch hour.
The lunch hour might be more appealing to me.
Okay.
Because from 4:30 to like my kid's bedtime, like that's my
Your kid time.
I still got two under 2.
I actually love that you're making that a priority because I think I think that's lost sometimes. So I love that you're doing that. Yeah, we have a lot of professionals that come to the noon class. Actually, we have some people from Lamar. We have some people from a lot of places nearby. We have some doctors that will actually come on their lunch hour. So I'm trying to think if you know anybody. Lloyd Courtney, you know Lloyd Courtney?
I don't know.
He does the with Mikey Matuk and Jared Mitchell's show. I'm trying to think of some other.
Him, though. I heard the chuckle in the background. Jay's like, I know those people.
Lloyd's a character. I love Lloyd. There's several professionals that come at that time, and again, it's 45 minutes. We also have a shower if you want it. So.
Perfect. Well, I gotta get clean before going back in the office.
Yeah, we'll talk. I'll hook you up with a little free trial. You can come try it out. But no, I appreciate you having me on the show. I mean, that's just getting to talk about it and let people know about it is good.
Yeah, I love it. I love what you're doing. The model is and thoroughly enjoy it, and that's.
Thanks.
You got to get a 4 a.m. class. Then I'll be there.
I got to find a coach that agreed to teach that, and then we'll see. I will say our 5:15 is constantly waitlisted. It's very popular. Yeah.
Like that's always been my biggest hurdle is people are like, come to the class. I'm like, what's your earliest class? 5:15. I'm like, no, I'm home because I start work at 6, and I'm like, so I'm home at like 4:50, 4:55, 5 o'clock is when I get home. Like then I got to do breakfast and lunch, and I got to pack all that stuff, make coffee, and then I'm in the shower. And then I'm working at 6. Like that's my morning routine because I get in work before my kids get up. Because I can have that wake up time with them.
Yeah, I'm glad you can do that though, because a lot of people don't have that flexibility to like start that early. Yeah. And then that allows you to be home when they are awake and bathe them or put them to bed and do all the fun dad stuff. So
Exactly.
Does everybody go to bed at like 8 o'clock?
7:30.
Yeah.
We're like a 7:30 strict. Like all the kids are in bed at 7. I say all. We have 2. They're all in bed at 7:30, and then they're done for the night.
Yeah, but everybody functions better on routine. I remember those days. Yeah, mine were on a routine too. Yeah, but I couldn't go to work that early, so that's why I say that having that option is awesome.
Yeah, work remote and work from home kind of lended itself to that. Plus, like I'm in the crazy time of year for my other job, right? And it is just any hour I can get to work, I work. Just so I can get done what I need to get done because there's not a lot of time to get a lot of stuff done.
You got a few more weeks of that, right?
Yeah, a few more weeks. By the time this airs, we'll be 1 week closer, So
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This was a blast.
Yeah, had fun.
So if anybody's listening or watching and looking to change their gym or just increase your habits of living well and healthy, check out F45. Tell Heather Bush that Patty G sent you, and then ask her where Andy's at in the class. Make sure he's there too. So,
yes.
Yeah. So thank y'all so very much. We'll catch you all on the next one.
Bye.